So, for those of you who don't know what the Fed plan is and how it's going to affect you, here is what the media is not focused on. You see, the Fed took a position that inflation would be contained by supply chain issues being resolved. So when inflation figures indicated that it was out of control at 9% plus, and indeed real inflation that we all suffer was closer to 20%, they started to panic. So here is their plan. They aim to stifle demand by causing an economic catastrophe. Their first tool to bring down inflation is to sell the trillions of government bonds they've accumulated over the past few years. Now the problem with that is that the market for these bonds has three main buyers: the Fed, commercial banks, and foreign governments. And if you want to know what that looks like, see the previous video when we talk about the Ponzi scheme that is the Federal Reserve. Now, the reversal in demand from each of these three different investors types is shocking. Nobody wants to buy these bonds. And so the only way they're going to be able to sell the bonds is by raising the interest rates on the government bonds. They will have to go up to attract the buyers. And that means that interest rates on everything else goes up. The housing market. Mortgage rates go up, less people can afford to buy a home. For the Fed, that equals less demand for homes, which means a home price collapse. Jerome Powell has stated he wants to see a housing market correction. He might get his wish. Businesses will stop taking out loans to expand because it's too expensive to borrow money. Less expansion equals less hiring equals less wage inflation. Less expansion means businesses will purchase less equipment, they'll rent less office space, they will buy less, the supplies that they buy will be less, and therefore demand equals lower inflation. Now, the Federal Reserve thought inflation would be transitory, and they've left it far too late to apply the sledgehammer tools they have. There is no fine-tuning in their toolkit. Now, the next thing is that the stock market could collapse with what the Fed is doing, because without easy money, without the quantitative easing, I mean, let's face it, 92% of all of the printed money over the past few years has gone into the stock market. It didn't go into your pocket, it certainly didn't go into my pocket. And so now, high interest rates plus quantitative tightening will collapse the market. And if it does collapse, an awful lot of people are going to be hurt. The first thing that's going to happen is that retirement accounts are going to be decimated. Nobody is going to be able to afford to retire. People will lose money in the stock market, especially retail investors. And of course, that's devastating enough, but it also means that the tax revenues fall, which puts more pressure on the government budget. Interest rates are going to keep going up. Quantitative tightening will continue because the Fed needs to create a disaster to actually get rid of inflation. And that is what is panicking everybody. It is a disaster scenario in the making. Any one of those three things coming true will be extremely painful. And of course, what may happen is that the Fed will say, well, you either want a Great Depression or we start printing money. And the whole cycle continues yet again. We need an alternative system. We need a great reset tool. You see, wealth isn't scarce. Look at this graphic of the world's wealth. The problem is we need to redistribute that wealth in a more equitable way. And we need a new system of money, which is why we came up with the Web 3.0 socially engineered token called PZen. It is the Great Wealth Reset Tool. Watch this video to see how it actually works.
In these tumultuous economic times, it seems harder and harder to get ahead. Even though you have made all the right financial decisions, it's never enough. The problem is not you, it's the system. You see, the system is designed to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. The only solution is to break free from this system. Today, you can join a new, growing economy and finally get ahead. This economy is built around a socially engineered token called PulseZen, which is designed to redistribute wealth. The truth is that there is no scarcity of wealth. We just need a better redistribution system. PulseZen harnesses the power of the eighth wonder of the world, compounding interest. Simply buy and hold PulseZen in your wallet, and after each transaction made across the network, your token balance goes up. This is thanks to the Pay It Forward deduction, which takes 2% of every transaction and distributes it equitably to all PulseZen holders. No one is coming to save you. This is the way out, but you need to do the work. You have to get educated. You have to take a leap of faith. You have to join the new economy to secure your financial future. Take control of your finances with PulseZen.